All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Life Theories with myself, Jay, and Diana over in the US of A. How's everyone? Well, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
You're good. Cool. We should be joining with Sarah, but Sarah should be coming in soon, we hope. We'll see how she goes. She's got a few things that she's doing, but she said she'll just try and jump in. And we'll be talking about, I think we'll make this an open subject. What do you think? Like some of the stuff we've been going through individually.
Yeah.
We were just talking off camera about where we're at with regards to, I guess we always talk about past emotions and they go, bring the past up. But in this case, it's a case of not having the past as a excuse. It's actually trying to work out why and the pattern that comes up, and actually having the consciousness and the awareness that we've got now to say, right, this is the pattern that's happening. Why is it happening? And for me personally, is to work out exactly what emotion or what's lacking. So when I go out into the real world, instead of keep going left and then getting hurt or doing the same repeated thing, I could actually go right and actually break it up. Now, for me, I always have to back off. Like I'm always this happy running around full of energy. But I think for me, backing off and staying away is much, much better because a lot of emotions going around for me anyway. How do you feel about that? Miss Diana from the US of A.
Yeah, man, this has been tough, as everyone knows, I've made a big transformation in the last year, with addictions, mental health, all that stuff, even relationships, a lot of huge changes, and even the YouTube channel and everything. So, sometimes I think I did all this inner work and healing, right? And I know I did, but then something comes up that, triggers me. It's almost like I'm acting like my old self again. And I'm not saying with the dick, I'm talking from an emotional level. Just things that bother me from the past, right? Or, stupid things, or maybe they aren't that stupid, but, something, I don't know, and I feel like the way I was reacting mentally, how I feel inside, it feels like the old version. I just feel like constantly that old version, that new version are I'm reading that book, Psycho-Cybernetics, right? It's telling you your self-image and becoming a new version, right? It talks about that. And I'm seeing that old is trying to fight so hard to come back, right? Because that's what I've been for my whole life. I'm talking about the way I've reacted, the way I've responded to things. And I might not always express it, but it's sometimes obsessive thinking over things that I shouldn't be upset, or just or things that are triggering me that shouldn't, and I don't know where the hell it's coming from because I thought I've done a lot of work on this, which I haven't. And we're all human. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're always gonna get triggered, but sometimes I'm like, am I really overreact? Am I really thinking this way? Why this? All these other things have happened. And I've handled it really well. Things that I didn't think I could, and I've handled better. But it's these little things. Maybe they aren't so little. So I'm a little bit. I just feel like I'm kind of shifting between my old and my new, and I know you have to keep showing up as a new, but man, it's hard when there's tough emotions that kind of bring you back to the old version, and they're very strong pull. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. We've got a lot of good things that we're doing, obviously, and we get that vibe. I think all of us are feeling that vibe, and for me, it's a case of, I think a big thing for me is basically giving my power away. That's for me, and that's all this stuff has come up, and harsh realities with regards to things. But you've got to have people who actually care. For me, I've found that people who care, who truly care, and just tell you, right, pull your bloody head in and do what you got to do, and then do what you got to do to be better. And then people go, stop sooking about it and all that kind of stuff. But it's a case they don't know where our journeys have happened.
Yeah.
We're definitely at a better consciousness now, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I use opinions. I usually say something else, but opinion. Everyone's got an opinion, and how much value do you put on that opinion? It should be absolutely bugger all and nothing. But we as individuals, and where we are at, and obviously where we've been with our journeys, with people who give a lot, but we haven't been in the situation where if we gave that to ourselves, we'd be in a better situation. But And it's a case of, for me, it's a liked thing. It's being accepted and being liked. And if you do something wrong or you do too much of people and you see that they're treating you bad, they're treating you differently, it's a world of emotion for me, world of emotion. But best thing is to step back, for me anyway. So, yeah, what do you think? So I'll just check. I think maybe Sarah's coming on. Just let's have a look. Okay, Sarah's coming on in a second. I'll let you talk. I'll let you chat about what you're going through.
Without going too much detail, what I'm discovering, what I think it is old unprocessed emotions coming to the surface. To be clear, like we've talked about, but I'm seeing, with my addiction, all that stuff, I shoved all that really, really, really far down for years. You know what I mean? And that was my coping mechanism. Something at some level that, with those kind of behaviors, right? But it got heavier, got worse and worse. So just because it wasn't even that long ago that, I got myself better and stuff, right? So just because I did all that work, that's years and years of energy, emotion being stuffed down. And it kind of brings back, I think some of it goes back to childhood, like the issues with my parents and like my dad relationship with him and everything. I think some of these are patterns of like maybe feelings. I think it could be feelings of unworthiness or I don't know. I listen to Aaron Doughty, right? He talks about the abandonment wound, and even if you had a parent that was like emotionally abandoning you, right? Sometimes that can cause these kind of behaviors that are emotions that I'm feeling. I think it's coming from that. So still working through it. I'm accepting myself. I'm not beating myself. At first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still acting like this, but that's the self-sabotage. And then you'll go back and say, I already act like this anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you just accept it. Hey, this is years and years of patterns I'm trying to change. So, okay, I reacted, but you know what? I could have been a lot worse. In this situation, I could have actually behaved way worse, and I maybe acted a certain way a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as I could have. So I still give myself credit, but part of me is like, come on, man, I do all these talks about showing up as a new version, right? How would I act? And then I still feel like I fell back into an old pattern. But at least I'm awareness, right? We talk about awareness. We talked about I'm aware of it. I'm like, before it's unconscious, right? You're not even aware you're doing it because it's unconscious.
Yeah, that's right.
But now I'm like, oh shit, I'm thinking this way, and I'm feeling this way. Where the hell is this coming from? So now I'm being more observant, and now I sat back, and you take time to reflect. You don't try to distract yourself with other things, because that kind of goes into like addictions, because things you're not trying to feel it. So I'm like, oh, what else happened the past few days, the past week, there's things that have led up to me feeling this way, and it's like a combination, and it's not just one thing, it's a lot, but I can see where the trigger, and now I know next time there's a way I could have avoided this very easily, and I didn't, so it's just a learning experience. That's all. I'm gonna keep moving forward, and I'm just working on that.
The last I'd say from November last year, and this is sort of going into a test for all the work that I've done. They don't understand. Well, people don't understand, but everyone runs their own journey, and everyone has their own emotions. Everyone runs at a different pace. Everyone has their own way of dealing with stuff, and I think it's a case of, I'm in the deepest emotion, as you said. You're bringing this stuff up that we've had for so many years, like since let's go inner child stuff.
Yeah, it's the inner child. Yep. I hate saying it, but it keeps coming up again, and this is. There's a lot there,
It takes a big person to actually accept it, and they always ask, how do you get over it? I think you got to live in the emotion and basically transform your life, back yourself in, and I think I analyse say for example my life at the moment. I'm a bundle of energy when it comes on. So I just got my band just debuted. It's been fantastic. I mean, I put a lot of work into it. I look deeper into it, and I have to question myself, am I still trying to prove to people how good I am? I say that. I really do. And I basically have to say, get stuffed. You're doing for what you are. If anyone doesn't like it, go and get stuffed. But that brings out that really deep inner emotion. But it's been really good that I've actually been able to link that to all the patterns. I'm actually doing some writing at the moment. I should be writing more. But this one here was really good. So I start pieces, then I stop, and then I keep going. So I'm writing something about how these deep emotions of abandonment, about miscommunication, I guess, in some way, where, you know, a little seed needs to be nurtured in some way, and you don't get that. And also the other thing is, my role models were absolutely shithouse.
Same. Yep. I'm dealing with this currently, actually, and I have to see. It's like in my face every day, and I think that's also part of what's kind of triggers. I'm seeing that, and it's still that inner child is like, wasn't happy with that. I was upset. I felt very confused. I didn't know how to handle, and I still don't know, and I still feel like that's there. It hasn't gone away, you know. That's a problem. I mean, everyone wants connection. We're spiritual beings. We want to connect with others, stuff. But there's a line where it becomes like needy, like kind of like feeling you don't feel whole and complete within yourself, so you need the other person to complete you, or you just want connection. So there's like a fine line, but it's easy when you have abandonment wounds, when you have emotional issues, especially stuff when you're inner child stuff, right? That when you it's very easy to latch on to that feeling because you didn't get that when you were a kid. So we have to, I think, like Sarah would say when she gets on, we have to find. That's why I'm trying to find a way to give it to myself more, because I'm doing a lot better, but I catch myself grasping or sometimes. And then, but my problem is I go the opposite way. Once I realize I'm doing it, I shut down. So I don't know how to keep the balance. I'm either one or the other. I'm like, oh, I don't want to get too involved with this person, or I don't want to start to feel a certain way, and then because I'm still working on myself, and like I don't want to, because I don't feel like I'm healed enough, and I feel like I might even hurt the other person, or I'm confused and I don't know what to do on my, so like, but that's not good, because then you become avoidant, right? I mean, you either feel too attached, or not too attached, or kind of like you're that grasping feeling.
One way or the it's extreme, isn't it?
Or it's like abandonment. And the problem is the people we're attracted to or interested in, because we have that within our energy field, we're going to attract people like that too. So then it's what sometimes they call it trauma bonding, right? Or I'm not saying it has to be trauma, but the emotional.
No, it's trauma. You're right. Any type of trauma is trauma.
I've been with, one of their parents, like usually they have mom issues, like their mom physically abandoned them, or emotionally, or there's some kind of trauma. Almost every single person, and I've had similar. My dad more emotional abandonment, so I noticed that's like it's a pattern, man. Like, and I'm not judging or anything, but I think it's because I have that within my energy. I have that. And then that can be, right, they talk about attachment styles, right? Avoidant, and then there's like anxious attachment, then there's the healthy one, right? But so they say people, they can do the anxious avoidant, right? The one person has anxious energy, the other person's the avoidant, right? It's a trauma bonding sometimes. I find myself in that, and I've been on either end of that, so I mean, I'm not even, so it can go the other way too, right? Or sometimes we're scared of being too intimate or connect to somebody, so then we back off. It's not it's like, it gets complicated. It's icky, man.
It shouldn't be complicated, but I totally get where you're at. I totally get, and I think it's a good thing if you can put it into a lesson-wise where you got to be strong for yourself.
There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in my life. I have a lot of connections that are different than they used to be, and I'm trying to wrap my head around what that means for moving forward in my life, and if these people have a spot in my new life, or if it's time to just walk away completely. So yeah, I know what you mean, and not knowing what the universe is doing when it throws these people and things at you, to be like, hey, are you feeling like, you got this lesson in the first place? And if not, like, let's put this situation back in your face and see how you handle it. Like, I'm getting a lot of those too lately. And there's a lot of them, like a lot. Like, it's like, hey, what about this? What about this? Like, I actually had it 3 times in one day yesterday. It was like a conversation my roommate and I had like 6 times already, had come up like almost word for word. I was like, why do we keep having this exact same conversation? I thought we got through it, but no. And then, I had like my ex like call and check up on me, and it was like the thing that he wanted to talk about was like interesting as well. And it was like, okay, like what are all these like past things coming up all in one day? And it's like, it really felt like all of them felt very familiar, and it was like, I feel like I'm supposed to respond in a very specific way, but like but it's like you're trying to put your finger on what it is you're supposed to do, because you're like, this is familiar. I've not been here before. So it's like, how do I respond accordingly? And then when it's done, you're like, did I do it right?
I think basically that you've summed everything up where I've gone through, like putting self into situations where everything's coming up, that you a repeat situation from the past, and then coming into your life now. But all of us are reacting differently now, because I think in the Native American cards that I use, transformation, like shedding the skin, the snake comes up, and it's a process. I'm using analogy, but we're processing these beautiful things that we've got a lot of beautiful things in our lives. All of us have. I know that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we'll call it a dark cloud for use of a better word. We've got to resolve all these dark clouds, because if we can't be the best of ourselves, and I think, as Cortez would say, cut them off. But it's not that as it is when you make that decision, but it's not as easy as what it's wish it was easy. Go, okay, yeah, I can cut you off, but emotionally we can't.
Well, I want to show you something that helped me as far as that goes, right? I actually did energetic cord cutting, listen, for a particular person, right? They responded, okay, so listen to this. So I put myself in a situation, whatever, I dealt with, I didn't handle it, okay, whatever. I kind of learned it, so I said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to energetically cut. So I did a meditation that my friend made for me, right? And people say sometimes you cut it from your chakras, like hers is very particular. It goes to all the chakras. Mine was a lot of the sacral, stuff like that, right? And like solar plexus and stuff like that. So I felt it, and some of it did feel deeper than the other. And then they say sometimes the other person feels it on their side, like they feel like a whole, I don't know, I've never experienced that, but sometimes they say they feel the pull, and this person contacted me literally an hour after I did this shit, like, but it was a weird, and but some people do say that it's breaking the negative unhealthy connection. But does that mean you should still interact? But the whole purpose was I was trying to, like, because I noticed I interacted with this person I kept thinking about, and I noticed I was like, why do I was like, something's weird, man. There's something, like, I don't even care about this, like, but something's, like, keeps coming up. It's unresolved shit that I kind of just ignored, right? I suppressed it, and I just let it go. But then it's in my face now. It's like the person kept trying to, I don't know, and it was weird, man. An hour after, dude.
Do you think that, like, when you did the cord cutting, you got that energy together, right? Do you think he or she or whoever it may be felt it and still wanted to hang on to you, and you're basically going, okay, that's enough. I'm a new me now. I think I have to sort of say thank you, best wishes, see you later.
I don't know, and that's the trippy part. So I'm just starting to do this, and the funny thing is that I did that with my ex-boyfriend too, right? He hasn't contacted me since, so that's weird, because he usually would have tried to contact me, but it's been, 3 months, so that's weird. So for that, maybe because he only wanted something unhealthy with me, right? Because he didn't know how to act normal, and he has a lot of healing doing his. I don't know the reason, but that's weird that after I did. But this person was someone I didn't have a relationship with. There's something for a while, like, it's a weird, I don't even want to, it takes so long to explain, but now I don't know how to approach a person, because I was like, oh, is this person coming at me from a healthy, or maybe they're trying to be different, or should I just completely, like, I don't know, man, it's weird. But every time I do these energetic, I've done it with people with my past life regressions too, right? And sometimes I feel better, I feel lighter, but that shit's creepy. Like, this shit's weird. Like, it's like they know you're trying to cut them, and they're like, oh, wait, no, come back. Like, some people say they feel the hole inside of it. It's weird, man.
Yeah, I just, taking what you said, I think, I think maybe we just have to basically say, there's the lesson. I mean, I've had a lot of lessons in the last couple of weeks with regards to a couple of certain people, and it's a test thing. And for me, it's basically, the lesson is to take your power back and just do what you've got to do. Don't worry about what other people think. That's the big thing for me, right? Yeah. So you see these, and puts you under the test of, this is the new you. Now you understand where you're coming from with regards to the way I'm writing. Anyway, I look at some of the stuff and the way, and I guess it's, you see people for who they are, in directly response to you instead of others. And you hope that, the interaction doesn't affect you at all. And then I guess in the way where you get, and the lesson for me is basically don't give a shit. Things happen for what they are. Take the good stuff that we've got and try and move with that as best we can. And as Diana was saying, this person coming into your life to try and hang on to the old self.
Yeah, dude, I feel it. I'm like, oh no, but part of me still kind of like, it's a big, like, something
temptation.
That, oh man, I was like, this is really testing me. Like, this is really difficult.
Yeah, man, like the synchronicities and everything happening, and like with cord cutting, it can be what can happen with cord cutting. I've been told, like, when I was talking about my twin flame stuff, I told one of my mentors, I was like, oh, I did like a cord cutting for my twin flame. He's like, you can't do that with your twin flame. And I'm like, what? Why? Like, why? There's really negative attachments going on there, and it's ruining our like connection. He's like, yeah, but if you cord cut like your twin flame, and I was just like, I thought you were like supposed to mentor me. And he's just like, I schooled him a little bit, and I was like, no, I wasn't like cutting it off from him. I was cutting off like a very specific, like the dishonesty cord, and like the cord surrounding like the way that we communicate, the way that he feels unable to be honest with me and things like that. Like I was cutting those cords and like being very specific about certain cords that we have in between us. And he's like, oh, well, you just have to be careful, like that you don't like cut them off completely, because that's like your other half of your soul. Like you can't just cut off your other half of your soul. You can't cut that cord. I'm like, I don't think I did. I'm like, shit, did I do that?
Man.
No, he's talking rubbish fit.
I know. I'm just like, I don't think, I know you're really good with like all this other mentor stuff, but I'm like, do I know more about twin flame stuff than you know? Like,
twin flame for me, as I said, twin flame or whatever you want to call it, where you're at, we can have many twin flames because of the fact that where we are consciously.
Many soulmates. Yeah, you can have many soulmates, but you only have one twin flame if you.
You reckon we got one? Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But do you think now? Are you questioning? I might put this to you. Do you question twin flame or soul soul connection, or maybe even a soul contract? A friend of mine, an astrologer, said a soul. We could have soul contracts with these people, and if they're negative on us, a twin flame. I don't know. I think I have we don't know. I mean, I'm no expert on that, but a twin flame would be a bit of a different kettle of fish with thing. But if they're negative towards us, we still have to step back and leave it, because we can move on. They've had to catch it. If they're twin flame, they'll catch up. Well, so yeah. That was a bit of.
I know, like when it comes to like the cord cutting and things like that, and when people reach back out to us, it's sometimes like when we cut the cord, it's that release of that negative contract or that negative damaging connection that was keeping you guys together. So sometimes when that gets severed, they feel an urge to call you because all of a sudden the connection between the two of you has become lighter, and they can't explain it and they don't know why, but they've felt a shift and they feel it. They feel the pull to get back in contact with you. And sometimes that can be to teach us a lesson that like, hey, we've cut this cord. Here's the final lesson you need to learn before walking away from this relationship completely. Like the cord is cut. Now you can solidify, this is the lesson I needed to learn. It's right in my face now. Here it is. They've contacted me. I can say it like this and then move on. But other times they reach out to you as a way to reignite the relationship in a whole new realm.
We'll put exes, we'll put best friends, whatever, right? Their behavior changes, right? Their behavior changes. The way they were with you, and then something changes. But you see, hang on. Nah, you weren't like that. You were bloody lying to me then. You're trying to suck my energy, or a succubus or whatever it may be, or whatever. Or you I
love the term succubus.
I attract bloody succubus. Yeah. Bloody hell. Anyway, but there's a
It's just his accent, man. The way he says it, his accent is funny. I don't know.
Well, it's just
Say it again.
A bloody succubus. Say it, bloody succubus.
bloody succubus.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See, life is good, but you see people the way they react, and you know internally they're trying to prove something to you, and go, look at me, I'm going, you know. I see that all the bloody time, but I see that and look, in that case, they react to our responses too. Don't get me wrong, but as spiritual beings, we're becoming better because we can analyze and go, I know I've analyzed the last couple of people I've been close to, and they have been, and it hasn't worked in that way, or I've learned something from it. And now that's why I think I said to Diana before, I sort of I step back and hide. And I won't say much. I go, oh, your energy's down, or you're a bit sad. What's going on? Nothing. I'm right. I got stuff to do. And my thing is, I got bap. What do you think? I'll ask both of you because you're both in that situation. I ramble. This is just me.
Okay.
So you've got someone in your life, right? Or anyway, whether it be a friend, an ex, or whatever, right? So as Sarah said, the cord's cut, but then you can see that they're doing things differently when they were with you to try and, I don't know whether to try and prove something, or you can feel a different energy shift, and you can see that their effect on you. They just, I guess they just not used you, but your connection to you connected with them, and they acted basically differently. And then when you cut the cord, they acted well. They say, "Oh, this is the way I am." If that makes any sense. So basically, it's a change in personalities, but there's a reason behind it.
I know,
and you can see that. What do you think?
Well, I've been on I guess both ends of that actually, but a lot of times you have to remember there's a reason we're cutting cords in these people, right? And they obviously know us well enough. They know what triggers us. They know what works for us, right? They know we're empaths, so they're gonna act as. I've had this probably with the guy I was on off with for forever, right? And I'm just waiting. He's gonna contact. It's a matter of time because he's gonna try a different approach, right? But what always happens, and it's not just him, everybody. But they try to show they're different just to get you hooked in a little bit because they want some part of you, but they don't usually want all of it. They want a piece of it, or they want the attention, they want the power back. Maybe they're not getting from someone else. There's something. So now it's convenient for them to be with you again. For whatever reason it is, it's now they want that, or maybe it's because you're more hard to get. You did pull back energetically, right? So they feel that, and there's something they still want, but usually it's not the whole thing. And usually when I do respond back, and usually this is apparent almost probably 95% of the time, for a little while they're good, right? They say all the things, they act, they know exactly what you want, and they give it to you then, and they confuse you, right? Because you think that's like, oh, they changed, but I don't want to give your hopes up, but most of the time it's just it's kind of a manipulation thing, right? And then once they get that energy from you that they want, or whatever it is, whether it's physical, whether it's just emotional, mental, then they go back to their old self. Majority of the time, man, it's like they haven't changed. I mean, sometimes people do change, I'm not saying it, but in these cases, the way you've described it to me, that's what I think, because I've been with people pretty much just like that.
But you could see there's your key word there was manipulation. They're trying to manipulate and go, look at me, I'm doing this.
We are empaths, so they know how we react. They know the needs we want. I mean, most of the time, they've known you at least long enough. This person was years with me, so this person even knew me. So this person knows me very well. So they know exactly what to say, even the right time. Like, they know exactly when I'm in a weird emotional spot. You know how it's always like, you're done, right, with the person, whether it's ex or someone you want, right? And it's always at, like, your weak point, right? It's like they sense that shit. They sense there's an opening. And they energetically, because you do have cords connected, even if you've done some cut, you still probably got some, at some level, you have something, or it's a soul contract, there's something that's still cut there, but it's not always what you think. But sometimes we want to romanticize it. We think, oh, something might still be, there's person changed. And
I'm going the other way. I'm
the
actually
same pattern again. We just have to remember there's a reason we cut. And
I'm going the other way, where I'm not looking for anything. I'm just looking, going, I think I'll be looking for answers the way, being an empath, you see the way they act, and then they act that way towards you, and then you sort of cut it off and go, it's not working. Yeah. On either whether it's a friend or an ex or whatever.
People want to chase. They want something that's hard, right? You want something that's more hard to get. Let's just face it. We're all like, everyone wants, when someone pulls back, it sucks that It's like that, but it's like sometimes mentally it's like it challenges their ego. It's like, oh, can I get this person? But they're doing the same shit. So, man, it's a big. They know that we're nice people. They know we're empaths. They know we feel, but we also, as a superpower, we feel this shit. But we can also kind of sense something's not quite. Like, you can, as empaths, though, we can tell if it's coming from a genuine place. Like, man, I think in this case, we need to feel it. Does it really feel like a genuine, does it really, most of the time, I don't think so. It's, there's some kind of, it's their ego. It's like, oh, this person rejected me, they're not talking to me anymore, oh, blah, 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 or this isn't working out with this other person, I want to see if I can still get there, take some of their energy. We have strong energy, they want to siphon her. Now, I want to say succubus, but they want to siphon that energy, and any response to them is still giving them something. Even if it's negative, dude, you're still giving them a response. They're getting some kind of emotion out of you because they know we'll be frazzled over it, or they know we'll think about it and feel it more than most. Even if we don't want to be with them, it will come to our awareness, right? It's given energy. I don't like to make everything like power thing, but man, some of these people, it is like that, man.
Like asking people to energetically leave our space, and we're putting it out there that we want this space back, and we want our energy back. It can get met with very mixed feelings and from the other people. Some people they'll just be like, oh, whatever, and it's like you never existed. And other people will come back to you and pull and try to reignite that cord and try to replug in, and they, just put themselves in your face. When it comes to those people, it's best to have to approach it with like the most awareness, like self-awareness that you can, because if they're approaching you and they're coming to you to try to reignite that cord, if you have the awareness in yourself, and you're an empath, and you can, like Diana said, you know, and you can sense where it's coming from, and allowing yourself to be keenly aware of the people that we're doing cord cuttings with and how they respond to us after, because it's okay that they want to come back and contact us after we do the cord cutting, but it's up to us and our awareness to understand the energy they're approaching us with, and how we want that person, or if we even want that person still in our lives, and to have the awareness enough to respond in a way that reflects how we actually want them to show up in our lives now. So no matter how they come to you, it's after you've done the cord cutting, if they keep coming back to you and you're like, I don't want this in my life, is being aware of how they make you feel, and being aware of the things that you need to say to express that to them in a way that will get it through to them without hurting yourself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And being able to communicate that in a way where you are still honoring yourself and not being rude to them. Treat it the way you treated it before cutting the cord. You haven't actually cut the cord. You are still repeating the pattern, so you have to cut the cord again. And it shows you, if you are responding the same way to them that you were before you cut the cord, that means you have to do it again. To take the steps to be like, I've cut this cord, which means I now need to have a new approach to people who come to me in this energy. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Life Theories. We really appreciate everybody taking the time to join us and listen, and check us out every week. If you want to touch base with Jay a little bit more thoroughly, you can check him out at WWHealth on YouTube, Journey of a White Feather as well. And Diana, it can be found at Trailblazers of the Universe on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And my name is Small Sarah Big Soul. I can be found on Instagram and Facebook. And YouTube. And we are here talking with you about our spiritual journey and growth each and every week for our episodes of Life Theory. So come back and check us out. Leave us a comment if you want to get in on the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks,
and we'll
guys.
do a big shout out to Cortez Spiritual Needs TV.
And
too.
Cortez, yeah, we are usually joined by our good friend Cortez out in the UK. You want to find him, he's got his channel, Spiritual Needs TV. He's got all kinds of good stuff about seed retention and maintaining that life force energy. So for all you fellas out there that are looking to increase your life force, go check out that Spiritual Needs TV. He's got some tips for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
well, ladies, always a pleasure. The energy's up. Let's go. Yeah. Well, me anyway.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking me in late. Sorry, I was kind of in a mood.
No need to be sorry in this group.
Yeah, you guys rock. I love you. Thanks for the boost.
Love you guys. Okay.
Bye, guys.
All right.
See ya.